Have you ever wished you could just sit down and work on your business without getting distracted by 100 different things or having to put out 10 different fires? Well, give me 11 minutes and I'll show you the 3-step system I give to my clients at selfmastery.co to 10x their business productivity so that they can scale with clarity, operate with control, and build with freedom, all without working more hours, hiring a single person, or downloading another app. Let's dive in. So let's start with something that sounds simple, but almost no founder or business owner actually does it well. You see, most teams, even small ones and even surprisingly solopreneurs, have blurry responsibilities. Nobody's really sure who owns what. And so what happens is that you as a boss end up becoming the catch-all for every decision. Any problem or concern or decision just comes straight up to you. And yes, look, that's nice, you're going to help your team and all the rest, but that's not leadership. It's just glorified babysitting. So imagine a ship that was out at sea. Everyone's on deck, everyone's working, but no one knows who's steering, who's watching the radar, or who's checking fuel. Everyone's busy, but the ship's going nowhere. Or worse, it's headed for a bloody iceberg. That's what most businesses look like. I see it all the time at selfmastery.co, links in the description by the way. Everyone does stuff, but there's no ownership, no clear responsibilities or metrics. No one's saying this part of the ship, that's mine, and here's how I know it's working. And if that's not clear, if there's no obvious ownership and responsibility, then no one is responsible for it, which means you pick up the pieces and you can't work on what actually matters for growing your business. So here's how to fix it. For every person on your team, especially you, define 2 things. 1, what they're responsible for. So every system, every process, every SOP, and every task needs an owner. Someone who is responsible for ensuring it gets done, that it's operating smoothly, and that problems in that area get dealt with. Now, depending on your business, this might be you being responsible for all the major systems, and then you have someone responsible for a single process or a single task, like a video editor who's responsible for editing videos, or maybe you're responsible for everything if you're a solopreneur, or maybe you have sort of a C-suite where you can have someone entirely in charge of an entire system, like the marketing system. Systems, processes, SOPs, and tasks. Get clear on who in your team is responsible for what. 2, what number they own. So with each person, they need 1 key metric that defines success in that area. Maybe the person in charge of marketing has the metric of leads per week. If it's operations, maybe it's task completion or customer satisfaction, which really the only true measure of customer satisfaction is whether someone comes back and buys again, but that's besides the point. And maybe for you, your key metric is hours spent on high leverage growth tasks, not admin, or maybe your KPI is what percentage of your employees are reaching their KPI. And of course, if you're a solopreneur, you're in charge of all the metrics in your business. Now, just because there's a main metric each person is responsible for, it doesn't mean you don't track other metrics, obviously. It just means there's one metric which is better than the rest or more important than the rest for that person's area of the business. When you make these 2 things clear, it does 2 things. It creates ownership. This way people will solve problems, be accountable for outcomes, and they know what they're in charge of, supposed to do, and what they can do, so that things don't just get escalated straight to you. And it gives you real-time visibility into whether your business is growing or bleeding based on how many people are reaching their KPIs. If everybody in the business has their metric at the goal level, then your business will obviously be flying, it'll be doing really well. And so really, you could argue that your whole job as a business owner is to focus on growth tasks that obviously grow the business, but to also ensure that everyone else is reaching their KPI, because if they are, then the business will grow. Now, of course, there is nuance to that because maybe you have a whole C-suite who can do that for you, but still then maybe your role is to work on growth tasks and make sure your C-suite is on KPI. But either way, once you've got people owning outcomes, there's one thing that will destroy all of it if you're not careful. Because if you're not intentional here, it will kill your business productivity. After all, you didn't just leave a job and start a business to become a full-time Slack firefighter, but that's exactly what most entrepreneurs become. They are reacting to messages all day, getting pulled off track, losing hours to context switching. Think of your brain like a Formula 1 car. It's built for speed, but only when it's on a clean, open track. And every notification you get, that's a sharp turn, you have to slow down. Every quick question, that's gravel on the road, you have to slow down. You might survive, but you're not winning any damn races. And look, that's the thing about productivity. Most of the time, it doesn't die in big chunks. It bleeds out through tiny interruptions. Notification by notification, message by message, until your entire day is gone and you've basically achieved nothing that matters. So here's what you need to do instead. Set communication rules. This is exactly what it sounds like. Set rules for communicating. So let your team and your clients know, I don't respond to messages between X AM and Y AM. Now, for me and for you, that time frame should be your deep work window. The time you work on the tasks only you can work on that grow your damn business. It's sacred, like it should be protected, because that's when you do the most important things. And look, you might panic at that thought, but consider this, okay? If you make it clear that this is happening, what's happening, that you're not going to be communicating between this time and this time, everybody will be fine with it. People only get frustrated or annoyed when they didn't expect it. But when you make it clear and they can expect no responses in that time, they'll be completely fine with it. The second thing is that you have to realize nothing's going to fall apart. Your emails can wait, your Slack can wait, your WhatsApp can wait. There's nothing that urgent that it can't wait 2 hours for you to do the work that actually matters for your business. The next rule then should be around the channel. So pick one communication channel. So Slack, email, WhatsApp, I don't care what you use, just pick one. Maybe you want one for your team and one for your clients. That's fine, I suppose. But if you have 5 channels, that means 5 inboxes, more notifications, more contact switching, more distraction. That's not bloody leverage, that's chaos. So choose one channel for communications. That way, when you implement this third rule, it'll be super productive to respond. And that third rule is to batch your responses. So one of the biggest mistakes business owners make is, every 5 minutes they're checking their damn phone, checking their emails, their WhatsApp, their Slack. But your business, understand this, okay? Your business is not emails. Your business is not Slack, okay? Look, with flow and focus, it takes about, 15 to 30 minutes. It depends on you and the task, but it takes about 15 to 30 minutes for you to enter flow and deep focus, which is your most productive state. And every time you get distracted, it takes you out of flow and focus, and therefore it takes another 15 to 30 minutes to get refocused. And every time you check, an email, for example, that's a high likelihood you also, not only do you get taken out of flow and focus, but you'll end up down some rabbit hole that takes 30 minutes and all of a sudden you're behind, you're stressing, you're off schedule, your day is completely fucked. So choose 1 or 2 times in the day to check your messages. For example, 12 PM and 5 PM. This way your team and clients know when to expect answers and you're not constantly contact switching or risk getting distracted and quite literally ruining your day because one email led you down a path that froze off your entire schedule, which is why it's so important to have a structure, a system, set times for communication. And this won't change. Look, it is so simple, but it will immediately reclaim 1 to 2 hours of deep focus per day minimum. And now that you've actually created that space for deep focus on meaningful work, let's talk about how to use that space to drive the business forward fast. So let's zoom in on your day, because even if you have ownership and you have focus, you'll still spin your wheels unless you prioritize intentionally. So picture this, okay? You've got a giant rock to move. And every day you spend hours kicking pebbles around it. You're busy, you're sweating, but the rock never moves because you're not bloody moving it. That's what happens when you don't choose your most important task, your MIT, ahead of time. You'll end up doing easy tasks because, well, they're easy, so there's less resistance to actually doing them. But when your goal is to move the damn rock, kicking pebbles doesn't help. Only moving the rock creates progress, so you want to do it first. And if you move the damn rock and then you want to kick around the unimportant pebbles or tasks, that's fine, but only once you've moved the rock. So here's the next part of the system. Every night, take 5 minutes to write down your number 1 most important task for tomorrow. So what is the one thing that will create the most impact, that will grow the bloody business? Then schedule 1 to 2 hours of protected time to execute on it, ideally first thing in the morning. And look, this step of the system and the entire system is crucial for you as the business owner who has to work on the most important tasks in the business, otherwise, the business dies. But this is not just for you. Everyone on your team should have a daily MIT, a daily most important task. It creates alignment, momentum, and measurable progress every single day. Now, ideally, that task should be aligned with each person's responsibilities and the company's rocks, which are 90-day goals, and the company's goals, which are longer-term goals. Now, business rocks and goals are a completely different topic. So if you do want me to make a video on that, just let me know in the comments below. But for your team to even have clear responsibilities and ownership, you need systems. So click this video on screen now, and I'll show you how to build systems so your business runs without you.